Yo, what's the dealio, man? Listen, you already know I got a straight banger for you today, all right? So listen, today is Wednesday and you already know what time it is. What is it, y'all? It's Wisdom Wednesday. Every single week I'm bringing to you some wisdom that I've learned from my life, and I'm bringing it to you in hopes to change your life, right? Right now, what we call this is an energy transfer, right? Every time you watch my videos, we transferring some energy, right? I'm transferring some energy to you in this world, and I want you to really pick up what I'm putting down over here, all right? These videos, I know for a fact they could change your life, man. So don't take this stuff lightly. Lock in, tap in, man, and let's change our lives, right? So be sure to like this video. I'm bringing to you videos every single day, right? We have not missed a day since we started doing daily videos, and that was on January 1st this year, all right? So Wisdom Wednesday, man, what we got? We got a good one today, right? So watch this. Check this out. So we're going to go right here. Stop asking for what you want, right? No, stop asking for what you need and start asking for what you want, right? You were not put on this earth to only have what you need and that's it. That's the bare minimum, right? You deserve an abundance of your heart's desires, right? Now we can stop right there and be done with it, right? But no, we're going to go deeper on this whole concept, right? So how many times, I want you to ask yourself, right? Let's check yourself real quick. How many times have you been like, man, all I need is X. All I need is X, right? When is the last time you said that? It was probably recently. It's human nature to only kind of like ask for our needs because a lot of times we're so only focused on what we need. But let me tell you something. That's not abundance. That's not abundance. You know what that is? That's settling, right? That's settling. And listen, when you settle for less, you actually end up with less than what you even settled for. Come on, y'all. When you settle for less, you end up with less than what you settled for. So by you only asking for the things that you need, you're never going to get the things that you want. And then you're always going to feel hopeless and lifeless because you are not experiencing things that you want. And now the next thing is, do you even know what you want? Right? I know it's easy to get into a rut. It's easy to get into this place in life where, man, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to make it, right? I'm just trying to survive, right? It's easy to get there. But there's a saying, right? There's a saying. And it says, God hears your prayers, right? God hears your prayers. I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, right? Baptist, Buddhist, it don't matter, right? At the end of the day, God hears your prayers, right? When we talk about the law of attraction and universal principles, the things that you omit into the ether, they end up coming back to you, right? Because those things want to show a mirror to you. So whatever you ask for, you're going to get. I want you to think about agriculture, right? If I plant an apple tree and I nurture an apple tree, what kind of tree is going to grow? An apple, right? If I plant some celery, what's going to grow? Celery. If I plant potatoes, what's going to grow? Potatoes, right? If I plant red rose bush, what's going to grow? A red rose bush. Nothing that you plant is going to grow something different. This is why your thoughts, this is why your desires need to be planted in the ether, right? That's the ground. And then you got to have good soil around it, right? Because listen, when you sit here and you only say the things that you need, when we look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, we don't need much, right? We don't need much as humans. We need place to sleep, right? We need some food, right? Shelter, food, water, right? Clothing. Pretty much it. And then you have, personal things that you need for your personality, right? But we don't need a lot. So if I don't need a lot and I'm only asking for what I need, I will never have a lot. I will never have more. Because the only thing that I'm asking for is based on a very limited way of living, a very limited perspective. Let me ask you something. What will happen to your life if you 10x, 30x, 40x what you needed and turn your needs into wants and desires, and you started asking for those things? Instead of just trying to make it, what if you tried to thrive? Instead of trying to survive, what if you tried to thrive? How different would your life be? I want you to really sit, ponder, and think about that. How different would your life be if you started basing your thoughts, your asks, right, on things that you want, right? Most people don't want to drive the car that they have, right? A lot of times it's based off of need, okay? Or I can only afford X, right? But what happens when you tap into this? You stop worrying about your environment, right? What's around you, and you say, you know what? I'm not gonna live where my environment is making me feel. That's a real thing right there. Don't live where your environment makes you feel. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is sometimes we may not be in the best environments, living situations, work situations. Those are two, right? Where we live at and where we work at, that's where we spend most of our time. And the people that we're around, right? So if we're living in places that's making us feel low, we're not going to ask for more because we're already going to be feeling low. You have to learn how to live above where your environment is making you feel. Because if you are living in the place where your environment is making you feel, you're going to come down to the level of your environment, even though you know deep down you want more. This stuff gets deep, y'all. This stuff gets deep. You have to start asking yourself, what do I want? And sometimes that may feel weird. That may be a weird type of conversation with yourself because a lot of times you don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you want for real. All you know is you don't want to be broke. You don't want to be poor, right? But what if you switched it and instead of thinking about what you don't want, because that's easy, right? Think about what you want. That's actually a challenge for most people. And don't be generic. Don't be generic, right? It's okay wherever you at is where you at. But what's not okay is if you stay there and accept nothing, accept the bare minimum of your life. If you want more, you got to ask for more. And when you ask for more, you end up getting more. When you ask for more, you end up getting more. It may not happen immediately. It may not happen overnight. But what happens is, over time, the asks start to really get ingrained into your psychology, into your belief system. And here's the crazy part. When you ask for more, you start to finally believe that you deserve more. And then you start to attract the things that you want. Right? See, we be thinking that it's somebody else that's going to get us the things. It's somebody else that's going to put us in the positions. Right? But once you realize that it's you start to look at yourself different. You are the reason for where you at in your life. What if you ask yourself for more? Right? Because you got yourself everything that you have right now. No matter what it is, you got yourself to everything that you have right now. So if that's the case, if you got yourself to where you at right now, right? Follow what I'm saying. If you got yourself everything that you have right now, you can get yourself everything you want in the future, right? The difference between the present and the future is literally your ability to be aware and to execute and implement based on your vision, based on your desires, right? I really hope that you understand what I'm saying here. I want you to get what you want. And also remember, the things that you want, they want you too. The things that you want, they want you too. But you gotta want the things. Because how can anything ever want you if you don't put it out there that you want it? I don't care if it's a better job, freedom, entrepreneurship, full-time trading, right? A new car, a better car, right? A luxury car, a nice penthouse suite, a nice house, right? A better relationship, right? Whatever it is, the things that you want, they waiting for you. They waiting for you. But a lot of times we be so blocked, right? We be so blocked in our minds. We be so blocked in our bodies, right? And what that does is it puts us in a position of feeling hopeless and feeling stuck. And one of the worst feelings in life is to feel stuck and to feel hopeless because you won't got nowhere to go. You don't feel like you got anywhere to go. But what happens, right? What happens when you start saying, I want this? You taking your power back. When you say, I want this, the things start to come to you. The opportunities start to show themselves. The roads start to open up for you. So let me ask you now, what do you really want? What do you really want? I didn't ask you what you need. I'm asking you what you want. What you want. I want you to go write it down tonight. What you want, right? Not what you need. That's going to get taken care of because it's been getting taken care of your whole life. Now is the time to expand. Now is the time to get what you want. The time is now, now is going to create your future, right? So right now you're experiencing what you need. If you want to experience what you want, you got to write it down and you got to put it out there in the world. You got to put it out there in the ether. You got to. Don't be operating off of what you need, right? It's time to operate out of abundance. If you knew that there was an infinite amount of possibilities out there, wouldn't you be striving for more and different? You ain't got to be traditional, right? You ain't got to do what everybody else in America is doing. Most people in America are doing things that they can only do based on their income and where they're at. If you want to live a bigger life, a freer life, a more fulfilling life, it's time for you to start asking yourself what you want. And when you go down the path of what you want, it's going to be a completely different experience. And you're going to feel, in the beginning, you're going to feel weird. You're going to feel off because you're like, damn. But let me tell you something. It's worth it. It's worth it and you worth it, right? You worth it. I want you to know that. So right now, if you made it to this video, I want you to say, it's time to expand. It is time to expand. It's time to expand past your needs, and it's time to go into your wants, right? Go make $50,000 next week. You could do that. It may not happen next week, right? But over time, you can get there, right? Whatever your wants are, it's all you. It's your world. It's your oyster. It's your playground. All right? So I hope that this Wisdom Wednesday did something for you. And I hope that it helped you out. And I hope that it sparked something within you. Because that's what this is about. And that's what this is for. All right? So listen, I want you to declare it, man. It is time to expand. That's what it's about. Focus on what you want. Stop focusing on what you need. It ain't going to get you nowhere, but it's going to keep you stuck. You're going to feel hopeless and you're going to feel powerless. All right. It's time to expand. It's time to go get what you want, man. All right. Like I always say, make sure you get up out your head and go get into this world because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also remember, y'all, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I'm going to catch you guys on tomorrow's video. I appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Y'all stay smooth. Peace.